Welcome to The Third Space. This is a show where we talk to innovators and tastemakers from all around the Bay Area. Why The Third Space? Well, outside of the home and office, the coffee shop is The Third Space. We ask our guests to take us to their favorite coffee shops where we have amazing conversations over coffee. Hi, my name is Liza Farah, and I'll be your host. Our guest today is Kamau Bell, comedian, host of the upcoming original series on CNN called United Shades of America, and co-host of the podcast Denzel Washington is the greatest actor of all time, period. What do you typically order when you come to a coffee shop?
This place, like we're in the sort of the breakfast area, so I've eaten breakfast here. 9 times out of 10 I order, like today I ordered an iced coffee because it's like, hot outside. But normally like, here I'll like a coffee, like I usually get like a gigantic coffee because I have my laptop and I'm just like, I'm pretending my laptop's an old school typewriter. It's like a giant coffee, and then I'll usually get some sort of like, like something like, okay, I'll get the chocolate croissant, like I'm that guy.
Oh man, so I have to admit that I'm a big fan of your work. I was introduced to you as a comedian in San Francisco.
Oh, good. I like when people go back before the show I had.
Oh my God, yeah. No, it was, for a lot of people that followed your career, it was so exciting to see that you were able to get kind of a national platform. We were really rooting for you and really excited for you, and even, no.
I can feel the rooting.
No, we really felt like a local kid made good, and even when the show didn't get picked up, it still was like an accomplishment. It was still so big.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, whatever he does next is going to be amazing.
Well, as much as it's a big personal hit when that show got canceled. So like, what happens to your life? I was married. I am married.
Right.
Had a child. Very shortly after that, I had a child on the way. And so it's a big personal hit to like, how do we live our lives? What do we do? Do we stay here? There's a lot of like. That was also like, what does this mean for my career?
Yeah.
Because there's any number of stories of people who had TV shows, had big splashy, ta-da,
right.
And then you never heard from them again. So there's, and I think about all those people. So it doesn't mean they're not happy or didn't find something to do, but you just go, what happened?
Right.
And what does that mean? And so yeah, there was definitely that. But also I knew just by getting on TV with a television show, I'm instantly one of the most successful comedians in the history of all time.
Yeah.
Because many comedians more talented than I, or funnier than I, or in different situations haven't been able to get to that place.
Right.
So I have to be grateful for that. And there's some sort of, I know with the work we were doing, that a lot of that work, whether it was as good as it could have been or whatever, hadn't been done on TV in that way before.
Oh my God,
and
yeah.
So I feel pretty proud about that. And then,
absolutely.
There's been, and also I know that sometimes somebody's job is to be the battering ram against the door, and then other people get to go through the door.
Well, first I want to just quickly talk to you about Totally Biased. And one of the main reasons why I loved it was because you exposed us to other comedians like Hari Kondabolu, who's brilliant and amazing, and it was like a way of like spotlighting folks that were out there and touring and were amazing, and the nation just hadn't been exposed to them.
Yeah, that there was no path to the basket for those people.
No, there wasn't.
And there's maybe I know some people there still isn't. Hari is still sort of out there in the field, but people know who he is, and he's the show helped him get to a place. And Hari is super gifted. He's one of my favorite comedians of all time. So he would have gotten there somehow, because he would have kept doing what he does. But I was really proud of the fact that after the year after the show was canceled, like he released his album, and suddenly he was on like Terry Gross, and I just got to be like, the show opened the door for like Guy Branum also released a stand-up album, and now he's got a podcast, and like it's sort of Aparna Nancherla is now a writer for Seth Meyers' show, not on but Seth Meyers' Late Show.
Yeah.
So the people who are on that show, they all maybe many of them hadn't had jobs in writing on TV before, but they're all super gifted people, and they're working hard and they're doing their thing, and great that we're all out there doing something, and we don't have to be in the same place, and so I'm super proud of it. I'm super proud of the fact that nobody told me I had to put those people on there.
Right.
I just was like, the show's going to be better if, for example, we respond to homophobia in the NFL by having Guy Branum come out and do a nice kid. Like that's just like, how am I going to do a better job than he's doing?
Impossible.
So, and nobody's going to respond better to, I think it was Dinesh D'Souza.
Oh.
When Dinesh D'Souza releases a documentary about Barack Obama being a Kenyan Muslim or whatever, who's going to respond better to that than Hari? I can do the jokes, but he's got like a personal stake in like, you're embarrassing us. So.
And he can say that.
Yeah, he can say that.
He can say that.
Yeah. And so I think that it's important to, so much of TV. I mean, this happens in cable news all the time. There will be like an anchor and 3 or 4 pundits talking about like Islamophobia, and they're all white non-Muslims. Like you're just like you didn't think you should get one?
Just one.
Really, you should have like 4, because there's different angles on this story for Muslims.
Absolutely.
And so that happens all the time. And so for me, it's like just the idea of like, I sort of picture the best case scenario. We're all there's a hot tub and we're all just in it, sort of like hanging out together, trying to figure it out. So that's what Totally Biased was trying to create, that image of like, let's all get in here, and we may not even agree with each other in the writer's room, but we're all sort of pulling generally in the same direction.
Well, and you have a writer's room of people from different backgrounds, which is already like puts you a step ahead.
And yet, yes, and it's funny because think of somebody like, and I think Stephen Colbert is hilarious. And everybody was celebrating Stephen Colbert. He's so great. And then they released a photo of his writer's room, which is a thing that didn't used to happen even like 5 years ago. Nobody cared who was in the writer's room. Nobody thought there were writers. People thought that guy just comes out on stage and starts talking. But now we're doing a thing where people want to know who's in the writer's room. And so they release a photo, and I think it's all white men and 2 women maybe or something. And it's like, and it's just like, and people go, Stephen Colbert, but you're... I mean, he's only hiring who he knows and who's put in front of him and who he feels comfortable with and who has it. But
those preferences. That's
where do those preferences come from? When should you break yourself out of your own preferences?
Right.
To me, my life as an adult has been about, since I moved to the Bay Area, has been about breaking myself, like getting out of my comfort zone and putting myself in positions where, 1, I'm like, oh, this is different, and 2, I should probably just shut up and listen.
Right.
I feel like that's one of the things the Bay Area can do for you if you approach it the right way, is get yourself, there's so many different communities here that you can step into that will invite you in, and if you're there, just sit in the corner and shut up and pay attention. And instead of like going, now that I'm here, let me explain to you folks.
Right, that Matt Damon.
Matt Damon, that's another dude.
Project Greenlight. Come on. Come on, Bourne. That's the dude.
Matt Damon.
God.
It's just people sort of let the power take them out of the moment.
And that's why she was just so great at being able to, first of all, she handled that with a lot more poise than I would have.
Yeah.
She was just like so tactful and was listening, but also just like held her position, which was like, what?
But also, I think that the thing that I think that made the moment for me, and I think for a lot of people, when he says it, she goes, wow.
Wow. I've seen memes. I've seen memes.
Okay. And in those 3 little distinct, like every
black people,
every black person on the planet is like, I know what you're talking about. Like, she didn't have to go,
no.
You I'll kill you. Like we all knew what that meant. It was like it was like a 30,000 word article to black people in those 3 syllables. And so I feel like that's, to me, the 4 syllables. To me, it's like that was she didn't have to like go back at him in any sort of major way.
No.
We all knew what was happening.
Right.
We all knew she knew better. But when you see people in positions of power, the things they do wrong become magnified.
Magnified, for sure, because they have a kind of access that most human beings
don't.
So I want to talk about like what happened the moment you came back to the Bay Area, which I'm so pleased that you did. I'm like, oh, please don't stay in New York. Unless you gotta stay in New York, just come back to the Bay.
It's funny, I would come back to visit, people were like, come back. And I always looked at it as like, I have to admit, I looked at that as like failure. Like, no, I'm where the stuff is now in my career.
Yeah.
And then at a certain point, after my wife got pregnant, it was like, oh, I gotta go. Yeah. Why would I not go back? I gotta go back where it feels like home.
Yeah.
I was at Totally Biased for just over a year. And, like maybe we had another year and a half. And also, I'm happy that we did what we did. I'm happier to be back in the Bay Area and know more about myself as a performer and as a person than I did before. And there's a lot of painful stuff in there, but there's a lot of good stuff to come out of it. And, I would only change everything.
So, I'm on your mailing list.
Oh, yeah. And you're gonna get an email soon. Then I'm writing one today. After
oh, awesome! Yeah. And I find out that you have been racially profiled at a cafe that I go to often. Mm-hmm. I lost my shit. I lost my shit. I'm like, do we pick it? Like, what do we do? What do we do? And I don't know if you're like so over talking about this and like.
No, it's still. I mean, it's funny. I just did another interview yesterday. People sort of are asking me, "Are you like?" That's the thing now. It used to be everybody would talk about it. Now they're like, "Are you over talking about it?" Because I want to talk about it. Are you over talking
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, me and my wife, that event probably comes up. I don't know how often it comes up, but it's a regular thing. It's like it's a part of our Bay Area experience now.
Right.
And our daughter goes to school right down the street from there, so it's like we're in that area quite often. Right. And it's a part of our. It's unfortunately a part of our Bay Area experience, and it's unfortunate in a way because it's such a public thing.
Right.
That like I'll run into people in the streets who are like, "Oh, you're such a good comedian. Sorry about the cafe." That it's a part of my bio. It's a part of my narrative here in the Bay Area. Mm-hmm. And I also run into people who are like, "I used to work there, and I have a story," or "I used to go there, and I always felt this way." And I'm glad I don't regret putting it out. I feel like. One of my jobs, and this is one of my jobs personally, like my wife is white, I have white in-laws, they were just in my house this morning. Mm-hmm. I find myself in a position of having to sort of hold white people's feet to the task on their own liberalism. Like that's the place I end up being, in front of white liberals who go, "No, I'm doing the right thing." Are you? I mean, maybe. While at the same time celebrating the fact that like, just because you're uncomfortable doesn't mean something's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just means that we are about to reach a kind of threshold and find a new territory together. That we're going to be uncomfortable and then we're going to get somewhere else together and hopefully somewhere better.
Yeah. Right. You know what? There's nothing wrong with things feeling weird.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, it's okay.
The world is not about always making you comfortable.
Right.
And I think for a lot of white people, liberals and conservative people alike, they kind of think the world is here to make them comfortable, where the rest of us know.
In a constant state of discomfort.
A constant state of discomfort. And the moments of comfort, we're like, "Oh, finally, some comfort. Thursday night, Scandal and Grey's Anatomy." Woo! And I think that, it's there's a clip that's going around the internet right now. There was I found it on theroot.com of a white guy in Brooklyn yelling at another white guy in Brooklyn.
Oh my God, I saw that.
Yeah. "I settled this neighborhood for people like you." A white guy telling a white guy that he settled Brooklyn for him, and that guy's ego is so overlooked. He doesn't even notice the black people around him who are filming this conversation to go, "I'm about to blow up your spot, dude. Your spot is about to be blown up." Like he doesn't even aware of his own mania in that moment. That like you can't say that.
You can't say that,
and expect to be anonymous. I settled it. You settled it? You settled it?
Do people use that language still?
You settled it? Like, first of all, nobody ever settles anything.
No,
didn't settle
no, he
either.
didn't. No, he didn't.
Like, nothing ever, no. People, you get to a place, you see what's there, you try to work with it. Or you kill all the people who are there and build your own thing. That's what,
And say that's what you did,
Yeah. Like, it's like, you settled it? You settled it? Yeah, so I think that luckily a lot of that work happens in the Bay Area, but a lot of people think, well, I went to that workshop about that thing and heard about microaggressions, and now I get it. And for me, the thing I realize now is that part of my work is doing that work in the Bay Area.
Right.
Like I can be a comic, I can tour the country, I can go on TV, but part of it is that whole think globally, act locally thing.
And your comedy's always been really political and kind of race conscious, and I'm curious to kind of hear what you have to say about just the. I don't know if we're getting a lot more police brutality or if we're able to just see it more because everybody's got a camera in their back pocket. But your incident now, of course, it was a serious incident, but
no. Let me be clear about that. The reason why I just want to bring, because this circles back to something you said. The reason why the blog that me and my wife co-wrote together was written in such good humor, because I was really proud of it. Like, this is funny,
right.
Because it was because what happened to me happened at the same time that we're in the thick of the nation talking about Black Lives Matter and brutality, and I wanted to be clear that I am not pretending for a moment that this is as serious as that.
Right.
So it's important to me as a comedian to make sure when you read this, it's about a thing that happened that I did not enjoy and I think was related to racism. but I'm not going to bring the weight to it that I would bring to talking about Black Lives Matter.
Sure.
So, and and yet I still want to talk about this. So, if I don't say anything about this, then I'm full of shit. Like, because I'm supposed to be. I was like, I'm the guy. This is what I do for my work, is talk about racial injustice and oppression. And so if I don't do this, then I'm hiding from it somehow. I can't run away from this, and it really was about my daughter being there. And even though she's 13 weeks and had no idea what's happening, I was like, one day she will read this thing.
Absolutely.
Both of my daughters will read this thing, and they'll know. I hope they will go, oh, our dad stood up for our family.
Absolutely.
And that's way more important than whether or not I ever eat at the Elmer Cafe.
Right. And this seems like a really kind of interesting time to be a comedian. We have a Black president, a time where we have the first family that we're all like really excited and proud of, but also that there's like, I don't know if it's a rise in police brutality or just a rise in the awareness of it. And a part of me thinks, like, my little theory is that we were also worried about the president when he first got elected, and there was kind of a psychic trauma about losing Black leaders and him potentially really like getting harmed, that we kind of forgot that there was kind of rage that was happening around the country with the most powerful position in the country being occupied by a Black man. And the people that kind of absorb that rage are the Black folks that are in the corner, that are in your day-to-day life.
I think that's true. I believe that on an institutional level, police are trained to feel like when they're in Black neighborhoods, that they're there to sort of keep the trouble out of the other neighborhoods.
Right.
They're not there to police that neighborhood. They're there to police that neighborhood from the other neighborhoods. So
Right.
it's like we have to make sure that the people of the Blacks of Ferguson don't make it all the way to St. Louis.
Right.
We have to, and then we have to make sure the Blacks of St. Louis don't make it to Chicago. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just sort of like, it's instead of like about like, how do I make this neighborhood safe for the people who live here? How do I make the other the other town safe from this town?
Right.
And so that's not the right attitude. It's just
absolutely.
It means that you think that every Black guy walking in the streets is a ticking time bomb.
Right.
So therefore, if you shoot him and he is unarmed, you sort of can relax on, well, he was going to do something anyway.
Yeah.
You can sort of build in all the, like, if you're a racist, like many people are, you can build in all these explanations that sound logical to you that don't sound logical to people who actually know what logic means.
Right.
So it's the same thing with you hear this all the time, like, and you hear Black people say this too, this respectability thing. If you're just polite to the police officers,
If Sandra Bland was just a lot more polite, if she wasn't aware of her rights more, and
it's like, who works for who?
Right.
I believe the police they're civil employees. I believe we pay.
We pay for?
There's always this thing that happens right now where they're like, on one side there's Black communities, on the other side it's the cops. That's not how it's supposed to.
No.
They're below. Like, they work for us.
Right.
We call them when they come to our, like, it's not. And I think the dialogue around that is really screwed up. Like, how are cops and Black neighborhoods going to come together? No. Black neighborhoods are going to do what Black neighborhoods do. We have to retrain the cops to be better police in those neighborhoods.
Right.
I was in Camden, New Jersey, which is right across the river from Philadelphia. Camden is a notorious city of crime and has been for years, and they're starting to turn around. And one of the things they're trying to turn around with is the thing that used to happen in most major cities called community policing, where the cops actually lived in the city they were policing. Sometimes in the neighborhood they were policing.
Wow.
And that used to be, that was a part of being a cop. You had to live in the city you were policing in. So therefore, and I've talked to this guy who was a president of the NAACP in Camden. He's like, it means a lot. If you know that the house down at the end of the block has a cop who lives there, it just sort of raises the level of the neighborhood, because they go, oh, not only is that a cop, that's Officer Johnson.
Right.
I know his son. We go to high school together.
Right.
Oh, and then if Officer Johnson comes to you in his uniform and goes, do you know what happened with that robbery? Yeah, I know. Like, it creates where the cops are a part of the fabric of the neighborhood, and therefore, it's not snitching. It's trying to make your neighborhood better.
Absolutely.
They're not an outside force invading your neighborhood.
Right, and if you live with, especially if you are in a neighborhood that has people of color and you're around those people, you're not left to, all of the images of Black people. You actually have an experience. That's Miss So-and-so from down the road, and that's her son, you know. And I think, speaking of like Hollywood, we were talking about the writer's room earlier, but there's the responsibility. Why is it that when you see a black person, you have these images and you are afraid? When you see these like cops like reacting with such fear around like just seeing a black person, and their instinct is to shoot, like where's that coming from? Where did you get that messaging from? You know, and that's why it's like so important to have people of color in the writing room, because it has such a huge impact. It has such a huge impact on those like, and it doesn't seem like it's big. That's why it was so like crazy to see like the argument that like when you think about the argument he was making was like that diversity happens in front of the camera,
not behind.
Not
the camera.
behind.
And yeah, Spike Lee, I feel like, put that argument to bed a long time ago when he was campaigning to direct Malcolm X. And people were like, are you saying only a black person can direct Malcolm X? And he was like, you can't tell me that, I believe the example he used was Francis Ford Coppola, that because Francis Ford Coppola is an Italian American, that he therefore didn't direct The Godfather in a different way because he actually was of that culture and of those people. You can't tell me that he doesn't make that a better movie, because, and people were like, oh yeah, The Godfather was a good movie. It sort of shut the whole, like, oh yeah, that was a good, because nobody thinks about it from that way.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay, so I am dying to hear, because I think I read a story that you are going to be working on a show with CNN. Is that true?
That's why you're like, that can't be true.
No.
That's got to be a rumor. Yeah.
What is it? What is it called?
It's a travel show called The
What?
United.
First of all,
Yes.
a black person doing a travel show.
Yeah, I'm doing all sorts of things.
I'm just so excited.
It's called what's called The United Shades of America. It's a travel show. So it's based in the United States. Unfortunately, I won't be able to do the United Shades of the world.
Damn.
Yeah, they keep me local. And you know, on a lot of travel shows, it's a race and culture travel show. So in a lot of travel shows, the host will sample the local food. I sample the local racism, or the local race, or the local culture.
You know, my favorite part of Totally Biased was when you were on the street.
That's what this sort of comes out of. Is it? I get that feedback all the time, that was people's favorite thing that I did on the show.
Yeah.
And so this sort of takes that and blows it out into, I go into people's homes, I hang out with people at their jobs, but also the whole idea is like going to places where you wouldn't expect a black guy to go, or you don't think a black guy should go.
Oh wow.
So there's some jeopardy. And some also just some sort of like, ooh, why would you do that?
Why would
I do that? Why would we want me to do that? Yeah. So it's really about crossing boundaries and going places that either I as a person wouldn't go, or I as a black man wouldn't go, or I as a So it could be it's black is sort of the overriding thing, but there's lots of places where it's like I wouldn't expect myself to go, or wouldn't expect to go and do the things I would do when I was there.
Have you already started shooting?
Yeah, it's shot. It's in the can. It's just sitting on a shelf somewhere. Yeah, CNN, they only have like 2 hours of primetime programming, and so like it'll be early 2016.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see it. I listened to your podcast as well. It's just so awesome.
We've had some good episodes.
I love to follow comedy. I feel like humorists really have some insight into culture, and it's like the sugar with the medicine, you know. And so
yes.
I have such love for comedians. So observant, so smart, and you have to be so smart to be a comedian. You really, unless you're doing like fart jokes.
I feel like you have to
the comedians that I love.
You have to be smarter than the audience you're performing in front of.
Fair enough, which probably is low.
It just depends on where you're performing at.
Okay.
I think smarter, because you have to be ahead of them, so that's smarter.
Right.
But you don't.
Right.
I'm not really trying to insult anybody. Everybody does comedy for different reasons. Everybody wants different things out of comedy. It's like, me and Hurry and and others who are like, we want to make people think while they feel, we want. And also, we were very specifically. I understood I have to go curate my audience, because my audience isn't just walking to the comedy club. Once I realized what I wanted to do, I was like, my audience isn't coming to the Punchline on Sunday nights. I got to go out there and find it. And that's what me and Hurry have done by performing at different spaces and courting different audiences.
Right. Now
there is a danger to that, because sometimes the righteous people go, when you said that one thing, that really let me down. Don't say that anymore. And you're like, a joke. I want to say it.
Yeah.
You know, like, so there can be
I'm
a
a
danger.
comedian.
Yeah, there
so.
can. Sometimes people think they want to clap along to their comedians and not laugh along to their comedians. It's basically like progressives. And, you know, you actually want us to push your buttons sometimes, or else it's no fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's like, I mean, to get crude, it's like when you have an intimate experience with somebody, if you know exactly what they're going to do, like if they go, here are the 8 things I'm going to do now that we have this consensual experience, who wants to do that? Yeah. You want to be like, oh, I didn't know you were going to flip me over. Oh, Lord. This will be cut out. That was too far. That was too far.
We're keeping it. So, every time we speak to someone, we like to end the conversation with a show and tell.
Okay.
Because I love that as a kid. It's like my favorite thing to do in school. So what did you bring for us?
Well, since it's a school idea, I brought a book that one of my daughter's books.
Ah!
This is.
Oh my God.
A book about Harriet Tubman for children. Because I wanted to, after the Elmwood Cafe thing, me and my wife were like, we need to start talking to our daughter about, she's 4, we have a 11-month-old too, about racism. Because race, you can talk about race. Race talk is kind of fun. It's like the first black person to do this, the first black person to do that. It's sort of like a way to sort of uplift the race.
Right.
But then there's racism talk. I mean, Harriet Tubman certainly uplifted the race, but,
right.
but it's about racism.
Right.
You know.
My first biography.
Yeah. So
wow.
And there's a whole series of books. We have one about Martin Luther King Jr. too.
Wow.
By the same company or same author. But it's like, I mean, it's such a fun. It's funny from an adult perspective of like, how do you break down the woman who ran the Underground Railroad?
I just love that all of the slaves that are, or the enslaved folks that are in this, or have like frowns.
Yeah, that's the thing. They all have like a little bit like they're frowning. Like,
yeah, there's no pretend about what this is.
It's like, he's not happy to be lifting this bale of cotton.
No.
There's a like, and that's little Harriet, and she's worried about him. Aww. And they're all like, and my daughter notices that. Like, wow. She notices the looks on their faces, like, wow. And I mean, it's like, it gets right into it. Her parents were slaves, her brothers and sisters were slaves, and then you go, well, what's a slave? To be a slave meant that someone else owned you. Bam!
Damn.
And this is the frowning slave master. But it's for a 4-year-old. I feel like this gets us in the conversation.
Right.
So yeah, this is and then it also, Harriet writes for women, all women, and then it says women. So it says women's suffrage, which I didn't say to my daughter, but it doesn't, like, it just sort of builds the case so that the first time my daughter sees that word is here as opposed to in a class somewhere when she's in high school.
Right.
And then set up a home for her parents. She brought her parents to live in a house, a home for 4 black people. And then Harriet Tubman was born a slave. I mean, Harriet Tubman was born a slave, but she didn't stay a slave. She became a proud, strong, free woman. I mean, come on.
This is brilliant.
Yeah.
Just brilliant.
And then right there it says Underground Railroad. But
wow.
Harriet Tubman is an American hero. That's
wow.
like, you're 4.
Listen, this is pretty amazing for...
Like, you're 4. I mean, we got to... And I realized, because I was like, how would I explain any of that to her? I would be equivocating and like,
right.
White people, not all white people. I mean, your mom is good, but
It's exhausting.
This just gets us in to the conversation. And I'll be clear, it's not the #1 book on her favorite books to read, but it's in the rotation. And sometimes I'm like, let's read that book again. And so it's like, that's what my mom did for me. It's like, you don't always want to read this stuff, but you have to sort of keep talking about it. So.
That's awesome. This is a great item.
How do you do it?
Thank you so much. Continued success, and I look forward to see everything that you do.
Yeah, there's I keep a lot of things on my plate because these kids won't feed themselves.
Kids. Thanks for watching another episode of The Third Space. I've been wanting to talk to Kamau Bell for a really long time, and I really enjoyed our conversation. I hope you did too. You guys know what to do. Like,